Jane, it is pretty horrific. That's the only word I can use to describe it. There are floodwaters still in these three towns, and specifically these three towns called Moonachie, Little Ferry, and Karlstad, very close together. They were basically engulfed in floodwater in a matter of just a few minutes when a levee or berm was breached by the Hackensack River by a tidal surge from the Hackensack River. And so the search is still going on, but they've had to actually call it off temporarily because of nightfall here. They were doing it all day, going door to door, knocking on doors. They say they're going to have to probably resume it at first light because they're not sure how many people may still be stranded in those three towns. But people were being plucked from rooftops. It was really kind of a horrific scene that reminded a lot of people of Hurricane Katrina.
And Todd, when some people stayed against advice or even mandatory evacuations, perhaps they didn't anticipate that they would be living essentially in a blackout with no sewage, no running water, undrinkable water, no electricity, so literally sitting there in the pitch black. Is that the situation for some of the folks that you've seen?
It really is the situation for many of the people around this general area and these three towns in particular, but the people in those three towns are actually in some peril if they're still in their homes. Again, they're not sure exactly how many people are still stranded, if anybody. They're concerned about it, but yes, the conditions for other people in this area who are just sitting there with no power and no heat or anything, it's just very severe. And a lot of these people are not sure when they're going to get their power back. The people in the three towns who we're talking about, many of them were just in shell shock. We just saw them. There's a shelter behind me. This vocational and technical high school behind me was converted into a shelter. We saw some of these people going in and coming out, still just not able to process what just happened to them. They're happy to be alive, of course, and we can tell you there's no fatality from these three towns, but they're still going to be going door to door looking for them at first light.
And Brian, to give you a sense of the depth of the flooding, boats are being used in some cases. Is that not true?
That's correct. Swiftwater rescue boats are being used. Also what they call high clearance vehicles. These are pretty massive trucks that we've seen going in there with wheels that are almost as tall as I am, going into these flood areas to try to pull people out. So they're using all these resources, but some of the high clearance trucks have actually had to be turned back because the water was just too dangerous. Again, you know, the fall of darkness is really hindering them right now. They just say it's too dangerous to go right back in now. It's just too dark and too dangerous. So they're going to try again at first.